right, and so we'll get into some of the harder matchups now. I think we'll go priest here. So priest is like an interesting one in the fact that they, with their fears being on like a 30-second cooldown, um, and you don't have just a ton of ways out of it. Uh, you're kind of able to slap on him for a decent amount of the time, but when he does get the fear off, he can pump some serious damage into you as like a shadow priest, right? Anybody who picks a fight with you is going to be a shadow priest. A disc holy priest isn't looking to fight. Um, they, if they get the fear on you and actually create some space and start casting on you and stuff, you're gonna feel it. They can kill you. The trick here is gearing and uh, differently for the matchup. Like it's talking strictly like duels where you actually get to sort of pick what you're bringing in and change your gear around. Uh, you need like a mix of gear. You need some shadow res and some of the things from Black Fathom. If you guys haven't looked at the spoilers, which I'm kind of waiting to see maybe a larger list of spoilers as opposed to just going over just a couple of items. But some of the items from BFD at 25 have shadow res on them. So there's a good chance that like we won't have shadow res aura, and that's really gonna suck. But if we can have like a few pieces of shadow gear here, our added DPS that we're gonna have from being able to take the Crusader Strike, Divine Storm, Exorcist combo means we may not have to push too hard on this. Like you might not have to go as defensive. Like just being able to bubble out of the fear or trinket out of it and just push at them while clicking all these buttons. You might just kill them. We don't know for sure. Maybe with their shields and stuff, maybe they can survive a bit. But the idea is they need to survive to like a second fear, maybe even a third fear, and they will like hop out and heal and stuff of shadow form. Of course, they won't have shadow form, so they won't actually be doing like as much damage as they could be. And I think we're going to be doing like just way too much damage here, so it's pretty lopsided in your favor if you just don't go too insane, right? As long as you're just not trying to do way too much. Like if they're at range and they're starting to cast at you and you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna like bubble this damage and run at them, and by the time you get to them, your bubble's off, and now you gotta trinket their fear, and they get a blackout proc on you then, and they grenade stun you after, and they create that space again where you gotta run at them again, and by the time you get to them, you gotta eat the full duration second fear and you're dead. So you just can't like mess around. You got to have the game plan in mind. Now, typically before in Classic, you just ran some shadow gear and you used Blessing of Wisdom, turned it into a mana fight, even if he was like purging you and mana burning you and stuff, uh, just didn't matter because your spells cost so much less mana than his that each time he's doing it while you're just autoing him with Blessing of Wisdom, you're actually returning way more mana than he's burning. Like, he's just going to if he takes this mana fight approach long before you do. So, can't really think of anything else on that. I've had plenty of Shadow Priests kill me in Classic where I was running around as, you know, whatever spec, but I was, had no Shadow Res. And just going into the Shadow Resist Aura wasn't quite enough. That, you get one that opens on you as you're like picking some flowers somewhere, and he gets the opener and starts pumping on you, and you're not in some appropriate gear. They hurt really bad. They're not a joke. It's a real challenge, but it is doable with the right gear, the right strategy. Just patiently go through them. You won't have like the fights are just going to be so much shorter, and this is sort of like an ongoing theme with like everything. Fights are going to be a lot quicker. You're going to have just so much more damage coming out. That if Crusader Strike, Divine Storm, and stuff are able to proc seal a command, and you actually just come down here and there is some choices be made here in PvP. Actually, kind of like the deflection, but you're gonna be doing just so much damage off of this, along with having all of this stuff. Like he might not even survive to the second fear, and you'll just win. And I don't think Shadow Priest got enough love with having an extra dot that is a disease that you will be able to cleanse or remove with Purify, right? Shadow or Death, like dealing them damage. Like if they're trying to just spam this for extra damage, like whatever, and then they don't even really get anything here. They get Homunculi, which debuffs you. Like, okay. I mean, reducing my armor really gonna matter for somebody who's dealing shadow damage? And this attack speed and attack power reduction, like if the fight's going on long enough that you're having to go into the seal of wisdom and trying to keep Blessing of Wisdom up, sort of mana fight, this doesn't cut it. This doesn't do anything. So I think our this is a really hard matchup that just got way better in our favor. It's another reason that I'm really excited for Season of Discovery, and we'll move on to the next one.